So this week you could feel like you have two completely different personalities in you fighting for the steering wheel, and that is that full moon in Gemini setting the tone for us, bringing up this idea of twins. You know, Castor and Pollux, sort of like the original nerd and jock. So that's those two sides of you, just like the devil and the angel on your shoulder, right? The devil and angel is Jupiter and Saturn, who are both in a tight trine with Mercury, the ruler of this full moon. So on the one hand, you have Jupiter in Cancer, exalting expansion above all else, but also really bringing a sense of emotional optimism, like, yes, I can do this. Kind of expanding some safety for us. Meanwhile, at the same time, we have to balance that with Saturn and Pisces, bringing this kind of morose seriousness to it. Maybe a sort of sobriety that isn't always welcome, as wise as it is. That's where we get some boundaries, some limits, like let's be realistic here coming in, though this is actually useful when you consider it. Now they're in a grand water trine. They are trying to collaborate as different as they are. Internally though, this is definitely some confusion. We don't want to be too optimistic and overshoot, but neither do we want to be too sad and just stay in our place, killing our momentum. You can see this dynamic perfectly in Mars right now. On one hand, Mars is in Jupiter's sign of Sagittarius. It's getting that expansive planet's huge vision and resources. On the other hand, it's actually moving through the bounds of Saturn in Sagittarius between 21 and 26, and Mars is at 22. So you have gas in the tank from Jupiter, but Saturn has set some pretty strict rules of engagement, maybe a speed limit. You got the funding, but you got to follow the contract, and there could be some slowness imposed. Or you could just be getting tickets in the mail from September like me. So the trick is you have to do both. I mean, this is a both and moon. You need to have that big, restless vision that Mars in Sagittarius is giving you, coming from Jupiter in Cancer, from your heart, from what you actually want. But you are going to have to filter it through the strict timeline. Make sure it actually, makes sense on the ground floor with Saturn. For me, I have a sense of optimistic caution here. I mean, without Saturn, a lot of this Jupiterian expansion is just kind of abstract, ephemeral. Saturn is what makes it real, something you can touch. Of course, that involves some disappointment, because this world that we're in, it's not perfect. And that's kind of what Saturn does. It makes everything fit together. And that involves accepting some flaws in anything that manifests. And that's, kind of the bad side of Saturn, but it's just the price you have to pay for something to manifest.